If you're into baseball and just got seats for a game, you should probably brush up on your facts about the sport if you really want to enjoy it. We know we would. In fact, one of baseball's quirks is the rain delay. Now, we can't do anything about the rain, so Major League Baseball needs to be prepared. And with that, here's everything you need to know about a rain delay and rainout in baseball. First off, let's dive straight into a rain delay. You've probably heard about rain stop to delay, washout, rainout, and rain delay. The first thing you need to know is they're almost the same thing. Now basically, a rain delay in baseball, as the name suggests, comes into play when the weather conditions are pretty unsafe for the players. Naturally, the game pauses, a tarp goes onto the diamond, and they resume it once weather gets better. At the same time, a rainout happens when the game's canceled and is going to conclude or continue at another time instead. With that said, both Major League and Minor League Baseball games can be played in light rain. In fact, games play through light rain as long as it doesn't impact the game itself and with the predictions that the storm will clear soon enough. And by the time someone takes to put on and off the tarp, it's probably going to stop raining, which makes this more of an unnecessary delay. But that's one scenario. Other times, when there's super heavy rain in the ninth inning or so, umpires might still try to get the game through, even with the terrible weather. But if the radar says that the rain's going to be home for another few hours at least, and there hardly needs to be one or two more outs to finish the game, the umpires might let the players give their best shot. Yep, that happens even if the weather's the worst you've seen, because we might as well get it over with, right? Following up, it's not just the rain that stops the game. Generally, the game's going to go on as long as the pitcher's mound, batting area, and infield dirt are not so wet. But right when the dirt around the pitcher's mound gets a little too wet, where the pitcher can't throw properly either, you know it's time for a rain delay. In fact, the same happens when a pitcher can't seem to get a good grip on the baseball with the rain, because that's a safety concern now. Now, while a rain delay happens when the weather impacts an official game, this isn't just limited to rain. In fact, games go into hold whenever the weather decides to go a bit on the extreme end, like lightning, hail, snow, and extreme fog. And before you know it, with weather conditions like these, the game isn't safe to play anymore. That's exactly why they go in as an official rain delay. Typically speaking, the ground crew always get their facts straight before a game, so they already know what the weather's going to look like for a game. With that, they take a look at the amount of time the weather is going to stay around the stadium and give that estimate to the umpire crew. And from there, the rain delay could either be a 30-minute break or so, but may even go up to a few hours. The longest rain delay we've ever seen was back in the 90s. On August 12, 1990, the match between Chicago White Sox and the Texas Rangers faced a rain delay of 7 hours and 23 minutes. What's more, a rain delay might even happen before the actual game. That's right, folks. A rain delay can happen right before MLB games too. For example, a Saturday 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game against the Cleveland Indians and New York Yankees can be pushed to 3 p.m. instead if we're hoping it'll be clear by then. The stadium's ground crew is going to cover the diamond with a tarp, keep the dirt dry for gameplay, and go into a rain delay right before the actual game. At the same time, umpires and official crew tend to call a rain delay early before the 1 p.m. start time to make sure baseball players get to prepare for the delay too, especially in their warm-up routine. Now, if we're talking about a postseason or World Series game going into a rainout, that's going to resume right where it left off. Here's an example for you. Let's pretend that the Boston Red Sox are playing the Chicago White Sox for a playoff game. But just by the 7th inning, the game goes into a rain delay, with the Red Sox up 5-3. With that, a regular season game would probably count the Red Sox as the winner by default. But here, if the game goes into a rainout, the action's going to pick up pretty much the next day, and we're going to start in the 7th inning. Not to mention rainouts in the World Series aren't the same. Think about the 2008 World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies and the Tampa Bay Rays. Game 5 went into a rainout, and the MLB commissioner at the time, Bud Selig, informed both squads that the game wouldn't conclude a winner until all 27 outs happened. But with the rain falling pretty hard by the 6th inning, they suspended the game. Ever since that rule change back in 2008, the other time a postseason game got suspended was a few years later in 2011. The game with the Detroit Tigers playing the New York Yankees was suspended in the 2nd inning itself thanks to the pretty harsh weather at Yankee Stadium. Up next, let's talk about the rain delay rules you need to know. The basics are everyone has to leave the field in a rain delay, and a big tarp's going to go all over the baseball diamond to protect the mound and dirt from getting wet. Now, wet dirt can be a pretty big problem for pitchers and runners, so the grounds crew needs to get into action as soon as they can. Adding to that, the grass tends to drain well in the outfield, and that's exactly why they don't cover it with a tarp. Finally, if a specific batter was up, let's say with 1 ball and the 2-strike count or something, the play would resume once the rain delay concludes. And let's pretend the home team is leading after 15 outs through 5 innings. Then, the game becomes more of an official game, where the home team wins by default if this rain delay becomes a rainout. rainout. On the other hand, if the visiting team can record 15 outs and is leading, they're going to win by default if the game goes into a rainout. At the same time, if the game goes into a rain delay and is eventually called before 15 outs, the game will be canceled. That means it's still going to be made up later, usually as a doubleheader, and fans can redeem their tickets for that game. Talking about a Major League Baseball game, you can definitely have more than one rain delay. In fact, there isn't really a limit on Mother Nature, so there aren't any limitations on the number of rain delays or the time of each either. Coming up, rain delays and retractable roof stadiums. We know what you're thinking. Retractable roof MLB stadiums probably won't have a rain delay because they can simply cover the field with the roof. That's true, but that doesn't mean rain delays are totally out of the question. Power failures are real, you know. Back in 2019, Tropicana Field had the power go out of the stadium, and it had the game delayed for a bit. But then again, there's absolutely nothing worse than planning a baseball trip with your buddies only to arrive at the game for it to be a rainout. So, in stadiums with a retractable roof or dome, you don't really have to worry about rainouts unless something goes terribly wrong. Finally, these rules are better for everyone's safety: the players, the crew, and you. You don't want your favorite players out there on the field risking injuries in terrible weather, do you? Honestly, the rule seems to be for everyone's safety, so if things start to get out of hand, we all make a run for it. In fact, it also makes sure that it's a fair game for the players, because let's face it, not every pitcher or runner is going to be able to give their best with wet dirt and unfavorable conditions. So it's not just about safety, but also a fair game. Also, do you really want to sit through rainy baseball games? While it's great to get into the stadium and watch baseball, sitting for hours in the rain isn't the one you'd be psyched about, right? Then again, safety aside, it's a real bummer for fans, because most of us are traveling all the way to a baseball game that might go into rain delay. In fact, if it goes too late at night, many wouldn't be able to see the game's conclusion. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think we need to make some tweaks and maybe let them play in the rain? Do you have anything in mind that could make a rain delay or rain out a thing of the past? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.